Hello, hello, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're coming from. Hi everyone, I'm Erica and I'm going to be streaming with you guys today. I'm going to be doing a little bit of drawing in my sketchbook. Please let me know if you can hear me, if everything is coming through. I kind of have a reputation for joining and talking and forgetting to turn on the volume. So let me know if there's any issues or you cannot hear me and you just see me talking because I am literally, I should be making sound by now. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna check all my settings as we get ready to get going. Make sure that everything looks right. All my yes, just so I can make sure I'm sounding very good. Okay. Hi, welcome. Hi, Elise. Hi, Sky. Hello, thank you for being here. Long time no see. So today we're gonna be drawing in our sketchbook. I have some images prepared. I'm still drawing, or I wanted to draw some things that we're still kind of practicing or studying. Flatlays. So flatlays are this composition where it's like basically an overhead view. I think flatlays, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure like flatlays kind of became really popular with Instagram and like social media, and people kind of posting their meals or things that they're eating at restaurants, or their, you know, a look on their desk so that they can show what they're doing on that day. So it's like this overhead view of items, and if you take the time and really like arrange it, it could be a really beautiful composition. One of the things I love about a flat lay is it always tells a story, and it's very like, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's kind of simple to arrange in a sketchbook spread because of the layout. Usually the things are not like overlapping or touching each other, so there's space around everything. In the images that I have for us today, they're not all, you know, perfectly spread out, but there are some that are like that. We're going to be working from some reference images that I just pulled from Pinterest. They're not my images. They're beautiful images, but usually what I like to do is I like to pick and choose pieces from them. So I try not to, you know, copy too much from the original like photographer, because I want to create my own composition. So feel free to pick and choose from the images the things that you want to draw, and you know, keep them like individual if you like, whatever works for you in your sketchbook practice. So I'm going to be working in my Leuchtturm 1917 sketchbook. This one is a square, so it kind of gives me a little bit of trouble, the square format. I don't know, I like it, but I don't love it. I don't know, it's hard to photograph, but it does give you a really nice surface area. It's big. This is a big sketchbook. So I want to say this is like 8 by 8 maybe. I don't know, 9 by 9, something like that. And I'm working in the sketchbook. It is a sketchbook, so it's not, I just keep hearing this like sound that I don't think is right. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to the overhead camera so you can see my desk, which is basically a flat lay anyway, because I hear something happening with this camera. Let's just double check. Make sure everything looks good. Okay. So you tell me if something does not look right for you. So this is a sketchbook I'm using, and this is not a sketchbook that's like, what would we call it? Like a sketching book. This is more like a drawing book. It's definitely has some thick paper. Sorry, there we go. The paper is not super thin. I want to say this is like 120 GSM, maybe 160. It's pretty thick. When you use markers on it, you can kind of see through it. So let me see if I can, you can see it kind of pop, like it does kind of show through in the back. It's not terrible though. It's just a little bit, like this is marker and you can kind of see some of it. Oh no, there we go. My camera was freezing, so you just tell me if anything looks weird. You can kind of see a little bit through there, but not much. And that's just straight marker. So it's actually pretty, it's good at holding up to marker. I'm going to be playing with markers today. really. I haven't really drawn too much with my water-based Tombows recently, so I'm going to play with them today. I just have some random colors here from my last drawing, but I think I'm going to be choosing kind of like a warm color palette. I know we're still in summer mode, but I kind of feel like, you know, I want some kind of like warm, fallish kind of colors. I don't know. We're going to see what kind of like pops up as we go. So if you are new here or don't recall being part of one of these live streams yet, I just want to share with you, I will have the image posted right up here on the screen. And that will be the image that I'll be drawing at that time. I do also have a timer, and I'm not really married to the timer. Like, I try to use it as a guide. And if I feel like I need a little bit more time after the timer goes off, I just, you know, take a little bit more time. But I'm going to try to use the timer today as a little bit more to help me not just, you know, stay on track and be able to paint or draw all the things that I've chosen, but more importantly, because I would like to have my drawings have kind of like a looseness to them. And sometimes when I don't work from a timer, my drawings tend to feel very like overworked. I'm feeling that right now. I'm feeling like I did this one the other day and it feels very like stiff. I did this one the other day. That one definitely feels really stiff to me. I don't care for it. I want something that has like a little bit of a looser mark. So I think and see the images up close if that's something you would like to have accessible. So you may want to have a second device available for you to see the photos a little bit closer. That's totally up to you. Now this first image is beautiful. I don't feel like I want to draw a lot of the things on there. I definitely want to draw the croissant, and I'm thinking I want to draw that plate with a little espresso in the spoon, but I don't think I'll draw all the other things. So pick what you like from there. Let's do, I would say, like some quick warm-ups. I'm going to do maybe like, let's do 5 minutes just to warm up on these objects. I'm going to start with the croissant, and then I'll do another 5 minutes for the little the espresso cup, and then maybe like another, I don't know if we'll do another 5 minutes after that, but possibly. I kind of like that like handkerchief that has the polka dots, so maybe that one. I don't know, maybe some of the little flowers. We'll see how we feel after 2 5-minute warm-ups. So we're going to start right here. 5 minutes. And if you have your own materials and you would like to do a little drawing with me, please join me. And, you know, it might be a fun challenge for you to try to keep these 5-minute timers just to see what you're capable of in this short amount of time. This is usually a really fun challenge to try. And I do recommend that when you're working with short timers, I'll try to keep this visible to you like that. So when you're working with short timers, you know, be selective about what you want to include or what you do include. You don't have to include everything. Obviously, you are the master of your ship, right? And you can kind of alter things if you want to. Just really depends on what your objectives are. For me, I feel like my objectives are going to be mostly focused on loosening up a little bit. I've definitely felt very stiff with my drawing practice. I don't want to have that kind of like stiffness that on my drawings this time. So I'm just going to do whatever I can, and when the timer goes off, I will probably just stop for these for sure, because these are just warm-ups. And if you're drawing with me, I understand that it is probably not possible for you to comment or ask questions on the chat. And that's why, you know, we really like enjoy these, you know, the club meets are really cool, because even though like, okay, so let me explain for you guys, just in case you're not fully aware. Like, the club meets are cool because they're like Zoom style. So if you feel like it, you can chat Like just literally talk to each other. We can talk to each other. And that has always been a really fun part of doing the club meets, like just really sitting with other artists and drawing together. But if the one downside to that is like, because it's on Zoom, it's a little bit harder for me to show my screen. So we don't often end up with we only have 3 minutes left, with a view of the drawing. So it's kind of like you kind of have to you take one with the other, you know. You get the benefit of like being able to talk to each other, but we really mostly just share at the end. Like, oh, surprise, this is what we all did, which is great. But if you are watching a replay, like it's not that, I don't know if that's helpful. Like, why would you want to just watch a replay of people just talking and then showing at the end? Unless you're going to draw with, right? Like, unless we're all drawing together. And we're all drawing the same images and we're kind of working from that. So there's about 2.5 minutes left. So just as a side comment here, this is a good time to start thinking about what you don't have. I don't have a lot of, like, I haven't fully filled in most of this croissant. So I'm going to try to focus on doing that right now. When you start looking at that timer and you see that time is almost up, this is a good time for you to evaluate what you have and what you don't have and what you need. So do that now. If there's things that you need, I don't know if this is the right color. Yeah, let's go for it. Make this croissant very golden. Why are croissants so much fun to draw? They just really are. Oh, this doesn't really look like anything yet. So there's 1 minute left. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another marker, something a little darker, and I'm going to try to clarify what's happening here because it's looking very confusing. Doesn't really look much like a croissant at this point in time. Want to try to get a little bit of texture on here, and of course to really redefine that shape. Like this. So like I was saying, with the club meet, we aren't really always able to see everything, and so the replay might not be that valuable. So I feel like if what do we call it? If the club meet doesn't happen, I think it's best to do a live stream. So at least, okay, that was time. So I'm gonna stop right there. That was my warm-up, and I hate it. That's to be expected. That happens. I'm going to put this on here. Sometimes just as a little, exercise, I like to label my drawings. So I have a reminder of what is what. And a lot of times I like to use my color pencil as well to add texture and definition to my drawing. So I'm going to sharpen it right now so I can use it on the next one. I didn't think I wanted to use it, but then now seeing what I have there, I feel like I want to use it on the next one. So it's ready and it's available. So just in case you're wondering, I was using, and I'll just talk for a few minutes, so if you're still wrapping yours up, you can. I'm using the Tombow dual brush pens. These are really popular pens. I know a lot of people use them. They are water-based, and they have two different sides. They have a broad brush tip and then like a fine point. I rarely ever use the fine point. I always use the brush tip, but one of the things I really like to do with them is to layer them. So when you put them on top of each other, they create new colors. So I enjoy that part of it, but yeah, sometimes the paper might not like too much of that, so be careful about how much layering you do depending on the paper that you're using. Okay, let's move on to our second warm-up, which will be another 5 minutes at little espresso cup. So 5 minutes around the clock. I always like to start with something very light to just block in. I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. Just blocking in the overall shape first. There. spoon here. Y'all, I cannot believe that summer break is almost over, and I know not everyone's been on summer break, so I'm trying to be sympathetic. I know not everybody got a break, so I mean, I should be glad I had that little bit of a break, but I'm, you know, a little bit sad to say goodbye to summer break. Feels like every summer it's like this, you know. Oh, it just went by so fast. And if you are a teacher on break right now, I know you're feeling this too. I do love having a routine, so I know like being back at school or at work is going to be really good for me. But I am enjoying, you know, being a self-employed individual. Is this what it's like, everybody? Is this what you all experience, you self-employed queens? Because I love it. I love every minute of it. Just like, you know, shipping packages in the morning, going for a walk, stretching for an hour and a half every morning. Okay, we got, what is that, 2 minutes down. So I'm gonna try right now to get some color on everything. Just kind of lay it in there. These little bubbles in the espresso are really interesting, and they look challenging for sure. Now my plate kind of landed a little bit underneath this one here, so mine might be a little bit different than what you see. That's okay. Give it about 3 minutes left. So yes, the live stream I think is a little bit better in the sense that, you know, it probably works better for people who can't make it to the club meets. But I don't know. In the past, I've always recorded the club meets and just put them up to watch later. But the other problem also arises when nobody's able to make it to the club meet. So like usually if there's no one, if no one is there, like nobody shows up, I'll just switch over to a live stream, because then I could at least record that, and I can show the overhead view, and that, I think that works better. So I don't know, moving forward we'll probably just continue to work in that way, and you all just let me know what you want. Like, what would you prefer? I know a lot of Patreons that I enjoy. Ooh, we have like 1 minute left, so let's move a little quicker. My cup doesn't really have any definition, so I'm gonna try my best to put that spoon and that cup in. Now the spoon's a little tricky. It's got a lot of detail, and we don't have a lot of time for that. If I can try to get, usually with a spoon, if you can get a shadow that is right, get that shadow right, it'll start to look like a spoon. Oh no. Let me try this little handle here. The handle is like blocking the view of that part of the spoon, so we got to make sure that gets in there. The timer's almost up. Final moments to wrap it up. There we go. Okay, these were 5-minute warm-ups. I'm also going to put today's date. Oh no. Oh yeah, it's the 30th. Oh. So this is gonna be kitchen Go ahead and take this time right now if you like to, wrap up yours if you needed another minute or so. Kitchen Flatlay. Okay, so we got 2 warm-ups. I think a couple more warm-ups will be good. I want to do maybe just one of these cute little flowers on the edge there. I think that would be a nice touch here. Maybe like another one with that little handkerchief or bandana or whatever that is. So let's do another warm-up, 5 minutes on that little flower. So I'm just going to do one little flower right here. And it's the one that's like right above the espresso cup. So if you want to do that one too, feel free. So you can see I'm just kind of picking and choosing what I want to draw from this. I feel like I need a lighter yellow. And I think this could work for these little petals. I do feel like it's very, very light. Maybe this gray would be better. There's a little gap there. Like with this, getting that outer edge is going to be helpful because it creates that like naturalness of it. It looks kind of like, the petals are bent over in some places, and in some places they are absent. And I think that works better than drawing them all even all the way around. Here. Using a light gray for this. This one's going to feel like so long and luxurious because it's just one very simple thing. And the other ones were definitely a lot more complex. And I will take it. I've been out of town quite a bit this month, so I haven't been doing as much work as I would like. So I'm really glad to be back home and able to take some time to draw. Really like prepare for next month's Patreon. Got some ideas, but I haven't fully settled on anything yet. I really do need to settle soon. Okay, so I've got the shape. I'm going to define a few of these little petals. We have like 2 minutes left. Wow. This is very luxurious timing. The other ones felt so rushed. And I think that's one of the nice things about doing these time drawings is that you start to recalibrate really the way that you like work on your drawings, especially if you've been drawing really slow and really, I want to say thoughtful, but like very, measured for a while. Like these kinds of drawing exercises can be so good at helping you to sort of recalibrate, especially if it's something that you're not feeling like is working for your practice right now. Like if you are feeling that and you love it, then you keep doing that. But like me, I felt like my artwork has been very stiff and just very like regimented. It's just not fresh to me. And so I think timing always helps, like removing like adding restrictions, giving myself like challenges to change my practice, to change what I'm doing that is like part of my norm right now. That helps me quite a bit. And so if you are feeling a little board or I don't know, like unhappy with your practice, then try giving yourself some challenges like this. Like just challenge yourself to draw in a way that is not comfortable or familiar for you. And be okay with making bad drawings in that time, because that's where when we're learning stuff, right? Okay, very good. This was also a 5-minute warm-up. Let's do one more. I'm going to do that little green handkerchief or whatever, but there's a little picture of flowers that you can do instead if you want. There's a little bowl. Is that a bowl of like raw sugar or something, like little sugar cubes? You can do that one. I'm just going to take a little coffee break. Oh, I microwaved my coffee and it looks a little funny. It tastes good. Okay. I don't know. I kind of want to draw that croissant one more time. Like if I do it again right there, it would be like, it would just be practice, right? So either draw the little picture, or maybe you want to focus on something that, you know, gave you trouble here. Like the spoon would be a nice little study, a nice little exercise. That little picture with the little tiny flowers in it looks like a fun exercise, but maybe like would require a little bit more time. But that little picture would be nice, or the green polka dotted handkerchief seems like a good one, or maybe even one of the little books in the background. You know, I'm going to do another croissant here because I just feel like my croissant was so bad here. I want to try again. So let's do another 5 minutes. This is your choice here. You can do whichever thing you want to draw. Of course, you can draw anything from this image. This is all up to you, of course. I'm just going to choose to do another practice for the croissant because my first one was so terrible. So 5 minutes. I think this will be our last warm up. And I'm going to just try this again. We'll see how this goes. I'm not going to worry about any of the plate or anything at this point. I'm just going to try to get as much as I can done to make it feel like a croissant in the short time that we have. So the goal here is just to give it a little bit more of a sense of representation, like to represent that croissant in a loose and hopefully like a fresh kind of way. So I'm going to start with just a layer of color. I'm also going to put in a shadow. I always feel like a shadow is really good because it helps things look like they're sitting on a surface. There's not a lot of shadow here, but since that part overlaps, I think that'll help me to define the shape of it, and maybe that'll help us to understand what the heck this thing even is, because it does look a little crazy. Okay, so I have that very light color, and then I'm going to use like one shade down, and I'm just going to start adding some golden tones where I see them. Again, this is a fast drawing, so I don't expect it to be perfect, but I would like it to be a little bit more representational than the previous one, if we can. Just looking for those darker areas where it looks more like browned and toasted. Curious, how do you guys like your croissants? Do you want them very toasted like this one right here? This one's pretty toasty. My daughter doesn't really like things toasted, and it just like blows my mind because I'm like, I feel like the toasty stuff, like toasting makes things taste better. She doesn't like things crunchy, which is just weird to me, but I'm always like, just give it a little toast. And she's like, no, I'd rather have it soft. Ew. but I would much rather have a darker croissant like this one. So now I'm looking for those even darker areas. We only have 2 minutes left. So we can be selective. You know, we might not get to put everything in there. I think it would be helpful for my croissant to have a little bit more like texture. So in addition to these like blocky areas that are showing the dark value, I'm gonna try to put in some of these like linear marks, lines basically, and then that'll help to create that sense of like the rolled dough, but also I think it'll create that kind of crispiness. Yes, I think the shadows are like, I mean, they can be so challenging, and I think the way we learn best is just by like looking at them, studying them, figuring out like what worked in this one part, or like what you did to make this part work. I don't remember if this was the color that I used last time. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I agree. Shadows can be so cool, very interesting to draw. I think they can like really make or break a drawing. I mean, I love a really stark, very bold shadow. So one of the other things I love about these markers is that like I have that orangey color, and then I can layer on new colors right on top of it. And I love that when you do that, you are creating new colors by overlapping them. So it just really like expands your palettes, like the possibilities for what you can make. And I love that. Yeah, and another bit of a sharper shadow right here. I think I kind of went a little too far over the shadow. And I do feel like the shadow should be pretty crisp. So I like to make it a little like angular. Usually I'll do a really dark one right up against the object. Okay, that was it. That was another 5-minute croissant number 2, croissant attempt 2. Croissant attempt. And I had meant to bring in my pencil, but I didn't. I forgot. I didn't think about it. Usually I'll try to make sure I do that about maybe like 1 minute to go, 2 minutes to go. Start bringing in the pencil so that I can incorporate a little bit of that texture, which I enjoy. I'm just going to add a little bit of marks and put some on here. So these were our warm-ups. Just wrap that up. I don't know if this croissant is any better, but I think it was, you know, helpful. There's some little like flecks around it that I really enjoy seeing, that kind of texture, but it's croissant-ish, right? So this is my warm-up page. I'm pretty happy with this. I think that kind of helped me loosen up. To be really honest, I feel like I could do like several other warm-ups. But I think I'm going to stop there with the warm-ups, and then we'll get into a couple of more, like a little bit longer drawings. Not that long, but still a little bit longer. I'll put some of these little... I like to sometimes record the colors that I used so that I'll have them to remember. And I do like to take a few little notes. Okay, so that's our first image. I'm going to go ahead and take that image down, and I'll pop up our next one. So this is the next one. It's a little small. Let me make it a little bigger. I mean, it might look a little, whoops, sorry. It might look a little grainy. It's not like, you know, a nice quality image. It's just from Pinterest. So I think it might look a little bit better if you view it on the Patreon page. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a new page. I think I've probably drawn both sides of these, but I don't know. I'm just going to focus on this. Sometimes like you can kind of see a little bit of the drawing through there. And as I'm trying to show you that, it doesn't really show. But you can see it's a little bit visible there. Let me show you in case you didn't get to really see because it's kind of far away. That was my first croissant. Look how terrible it is. There's my second one. I think my second one is an improvement, but, and then I do kind of like that little cup. Okay, so 5-minute warm-ups. That was fun. Let's do, I don't know, I think let's do some more 5-minute drawing. I kind of want to do some more 5-minute drawings. So I'm going to take like 5 minutes and just do like the whisk, right? And so we'll see. You can pick whichever you like. I also really like that little cherry bit, like whatever that is, that little cup with the cherries. I think that'll be a fun draw. I like this whisk too. Maybe the eggs. Definitely pick what you like to draw here. But yeah, I'm going to stick with a 5-minute timer. I think I just want to work quickly. I'm feeling like more excited by that. So we'll see what we can do in 5 minutes. Okay, the timer has started. I'm going to start with the whisk. And I don't know, should I do it that way? With things like this, sometimes I'll just put like a grounding line. I feel like that's a little bit dark, but this will help me to kind of keep everything lined up. Because it's really easy to get things, I feel like with things that have symmetry, sometimes I just hate them. They can be so hard to get them symmetrical. I think that's a little too high up on this, on the whisk. Got this cute little, oh, that already looks whiskey, I think. Whiskey. Whisk-ish, is that a better way to say it? Okay. Something like that, because I noticed these little tines or whatever they are definitely a lot slimmer in there. So I can already feel like my paper is getting a little soft there. So I'm going to bring in, I'm going to let that dry a little bit so it doesn't get too overworked. And this is kind of a strange color to combine it with, but I do think that it will help create that kind of like shadow by stacking in. I'm just going to do some little vertical lines here to make it look like those little tines or whatever. No, those are not tines. It's like a wound wire, right? Okay. Some of these have a shadow on them. So I'm just going to imply it where I think it should be. Definitely some shadow here, and then some in the back behind the tines. This is like, I don't know, I feel like that's not the scale's off, but I'm gonna keep going. Again, this is a 5-minute sketch. We're just practicing. Guys, honestly, I already feel like I really needed a drawing session like this. You know, I used to have a lot of Patreon memberships. Like I was a member of a lot of Patreons, and they were always so good for me because they would challenge me to draw different than I was used to and comfortable with. And I think I need to, I was just very busy and I wasn't really using them. So I haven't been on another Patreon in a while. So I think I really need to get back in there, because really challenging myself to try something different out of my norm is feeling very good. Like I really need that right now. Okay. Now there's also, there's light here in the middle, and I didn't account for that. If I had started with an even lighter color, I think that would be better. I didn't, but what I can do is I can try to make that like appear lighter by adding an even darker color. I also have a white, not an acrylic pen, but like a gel pen, and I think that could help me to create Oh, you know what I'm going to do also? The pencil. I've been wanting to use the pencil, so let me see if I can do a little bit of that. Let me see if I can bring this in right here. There's a few of these. I'm going to do a few little lines here and there. Just to imply it, but we're running out of time. This would be round right there. I'm gonna put that in there. And I really do like that pencil texture. There we go. Okay. So we'll call that a 5-minute. This was this color. And then this one. And you know, I think I'm gonna try and stick with these 3 for this whole spread. Now, one thing I didn't get to do, but I think I would like to, is put in a little bit of white here. I just feel like that space looks really like it needs it. Just gonna put a little bit in. I know that's more than 5 minutes, but I think that's okay. So a little bit of white over here. There are some bits here, but I don't know. This pen is not acting very nice to me right now. Okay, so that's what we have for that first one. It's just very loose. I'm gonna put 5-ish minutes. And I also always like to have dates on here so I can remember what that was from. Okay. So that was 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go over to another 5 minutes. You can pick anything that you want to draw from the image. I'm going to leave that image up. I'm going to draw that little cherry cup because I like the little shine on the cherries. But again, I'm going to try to stick with these colors. So that's going to be hard. I think I need one that's like a little bit lighter. I didn't really have a light version. So I'm going to incorporate this one too. I'm just going to bring that in here. I'm going to give myself a guide. That's about how big it's going to be. I'm wondering if any of you all are watching the Olympics right now. That's also going to be like a good marker for when we're doing this. It's during the Olympics, so. Okay, these lines are kind of like converging and they're radiating from the center. This is me just being very generic about it. A very loose understanding of what it looks like there. So it's not exactly perfect, but I think that's okay. Okay, now we're gonna try to I'm going to try to mark in where I think those highlights should be, because once you color those in, there will be no going back. Like you can't bring that back to white unless you use something like an acrylic white on top. And if I can, I'm going to try to reserve those areas as white. Just leave them empty. And there's some other light areas. Wait, before I do that, I'm going to come in here and fill this in. So we have the white spaces, and then we have the light color right here, this color. And then I'm going to add that darker one on there. Because that one, that would be the lightest version. So there's some areas that are going to be a little bit lighter there. Look right here. Right here. These are darker. So I'm looking for some dark shadows on the cherries. Might come back and add more, add another layer on top of it of darkness. It's really like hard to make sense of, but one of the things you can really make sense of here is the outline. So I'm going to try to include that little outline. This is actually fairly complex to do in a 5-minute sketch, but we'll see what we can accomplish. I'm gonna try to do the little edge here. It's pretty orderly, so I don't think I'll have to like look at it too much, but this side definitely has a shadow. I'm gonna put that right over here. It's not gonna fit on the page, so I'm gonna let it crop. And that'll bring us back here. Do we want that? I don't know if we want that. I think we want this. We have like 1 minute left. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more here. I'm going to darken it even more. Those very dark areas. Trying to make it look like there's lots of different values. I don't know. I don't know why I was so like interested in drawing that part, because it is definitely challenging. There's some shadows in here. Okay, that was our time. So that was about 5-ish minutes. I didn't have time to come in with my pencil, but I'm gonna leave it just like that, and then maybe I can come back and do pencil later. So this was again about 5 minutes, and everything's gonna be around 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. I put 5-ish minutes here. So there's my little cherries, and I think I'm gonna do, I definitely wanted to do the eggs, but I think I want to do the spoon first, the 1 tablespoon. I don't know, I feel like, again, symmetrical things are really hard for me. So maybe that's what I should do. So let's do another 5-minute drawing of that little spoon. So I'm going to just do it. I don't know if I can. Sometimes when I'm trying to translate it into a different direction, it can give me some trouble. So we'll see if we can do this. I'm going to try to create just some guides to give myself the shape. Nothing here is going to have like a really bright highlight, so I don't think I really need to leave anything that white. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to color everything in with my lightest color, and then I will add the value to the other areas. Okay, and that's really cool because it has this like lettering in there. Oh, it looks crooked. It's okay. I'm gonna leave it crooked for now. Trying to straighten it out if I can. Oh, there's a little empty spot here. I missed that spot. I didn't realize it was like a hole. And there's also like this little carving, but because it's a carving, it's really like, this can be really fun to do because it's not all the way like perfectly outlined. So you kind of need to just like look for those areas where there's like more prominent lines. Mine's all crooked, but and then that can be what kind of makes it seem like it's not fully, like it's not a sticker, or it's not like perfectly written on there. It is, you know, the light impacts how much you can see. All sorts of things go into that, factor into how much you see of it. Spoons are really hard to draw. Not gonna lie. Just like the, it's sort of like bananas. I would say like bananas are really hard to draw too, because of the like subtleties of their curves and subtleties of their like directional changes. Especially I'm feeling that a lot on this one right here. The proportions are also really important too. This spoon is like short, but it's not. I think mine is too short. I think it's a little bit longer than that. So these are all good practice opportunities. Good opportunities to learn. So I feel like the handle's a little bit more, a little darker. The rest, and then we're gonna try to make this look a little bit more like an empty space. Don't know if I can. I'm gonna try. A little bit more dark right there. I do think I should put some pencil in because I don't have any of that yet on here. And then the shadow, I didn't put a shadow in, but I can see it's right here on this side. This is the side I don't like putting a shadow. I usually tend to lean onto the other side, but it's definitely on this side here, so. A little bit of light texture right here by just, you know, coloring with the pencil rather than like writing with it. I like to do a little bit of both. I like that little like sharp line, but then also the like soft line. Crystal says you would love to see how you approach the eggs. You just tried and they came out very flat looking. Okay, I'll do the eggs next. Yeah, sometimes they will, especially because this is very flat looking. Like the fact that we're seeing them from overhead, they definitely like it would be hard to create that sense of form. I think in trying to create that sense of form, it's going to be really important to do, let me bring this over here, like to focus on creating the like shadows in here. So I would do that like all my lightest color, and then I would add a little bit on my second color there, and then stack it up right there so that I have even my third darkest color here. And I think then come in, even if you're going to use a pencil, then you can come in later and really darken those little like deep spots. So yeah, let's try it. Let's try this one next. So I'm going to do the eggs next. So 5 minutes. I guess I'm going to try to make it a little bit smaller, or something that I always try to do when I try to remember to do when I'm doing like a sketchbook spread, and I just draw one thing and then I draw the other thing, and then who knows how it's going to come out at the end. Like I'm not really planning a composition. I will start drawing, and if I need to, I can do them like over or under. So if you want them to look more intentional, you can make it like stop here, and then that way it'll give me a little bit more room to fit those eggs right there. So let's do 5 minutes and see how much we can do in that time. So I'm going to take my lightest color, and I'm just going to block it in so I know about how big this is going to be, how much space it's going to occupy. Okay, and this is about the center. This is about the center for the eggs. This is the second. These are 1 row of eggs, 2, 3, right? So then I always like to start big and work my way into like macro, go to micro. Right, just to kind of make sure we know where everything's going to go. And then I can start to try this next part, try to shape the object. When I work like this, I tend to have a lot of like marks left over at the end, and a lot of people like are always like, well, what do you do with all those like sketchy lines around there? And my answer is nothing. Like it doesn't bother me. If I really like hated that and I really wanted to use this like drawing for, you know, I don't know, to sell it or to like, you know, do something where somebody might have an expectation of it being really clean and polished, I would probably clean it up in like in the editing software. Okay, so here's one egg, and there's the yolk. And then, so these, I'm going to go ahead and fill them all in because they have a sheen to them, but they're not highlights. There's no highlights, so I don't need to leave anything white. This one egg will be back there. This is also pretty light, so I feel like I can shade in the entire carton as well. Now I've used, this works really well with water-based markers. I have used alcohol markers before, and I tried to use it in the same process, and I struggled a lot with it because alcohol markers just kind of like really blend into each other. So you can't really see your sketches after you start doing that. And one of the things I love about this is that I can sketch in and then I can fill in that same area where the sketch is, but I could still see my sketch. So I don't lose that in the filling in part. And so that kind of like makes it so that at the end, you know, everything kind of like melts together, and you know, the little lines that we don't really want to focus on sort of get, you know, hidden. They are, it detracts from them. And then the parts that we do want to see, we can just emphasize them more by, you know, really, you know, overlapping or like building up those colors in those areas, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's making sense. I'm hoping it is, but like you can choose which lines you really want to emphasize by giving them a little bit more value, a little bit more like layering, a little bit more development. Okay, so we have this like cute little, almost like a little cross shape. And then of course this, so we only have like 1.5 minutes left. So let's get on to those eggs. So I'm gonna add another layer of this light one. And when I do this, I'm gonna kind of drag in some of that darker brown right there, just to try to blend it in a little bit. Right here especially. And this part is where there's, I don't think I have this color. Okay, no, I don't have that color. I have these right here. So there's some areas that are really dark. So now I'm going to take my next color and I can start to add some of that in here. And it seems weird, but it's that blue. I'm just going to use that to help me try to create those sense of like that depth that's in there in between. We'll see if we can get this to look like somewhat roundish. There's a lot right here. We have very little time left, so not enough. There we go. Time's up. Okay, so that doesn't really show like anything either, so I feel like I need definitely some more time. So these are the colors that I was using, right? So I started with this one and pretty much everything got sketched and then filled in with this. And then this one I used to start building up those shadows. I do think that I could probably use this a little heavier, like that side. Let me just try it. The side of this like egg. And when you're doing that, try to use like curved lines to help it like record the contour of the eggs, like right here. Let me see if I can, right there. There's some right here. And you can keep like adding more layers. Right there. And right here too. We're definitely going to leave some of it light, like right here, closer to this area. But I think we can do more. We could probably even do more than that. And I have this same light color again. So I can drag some of that in again. And even, let's see. Yeah, I definitely think we need more than 5 minutes for this, but this one, if, you know, if I'm not really using a yellow, let me see if I can add it in. I don't really like that color. I think we would need something right here. Now this does have a highlight right there. I'm just gonna put it in. And there's actually like some light on the edge of that, on the edge of the shell, which I think would be helpful. See, now I've already incorporated a couple more colors, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that now I have to bring some of that same color into the other drawings so that they will feel like they're connected, you know, like they all belong to the same space. So here's some of that new color. I'm going to use that to help darken those dark parts right there. So this is definitely a longer than 5-minute drawing, and we'll mark that on there, because sometimes when I look back at these, I want to know like I don't want to be like, wow, how did I do that in 5 minutes? I want to know that, like, just logically that didn't happen in 5 minutes, so don't expect that again. Like, it needed a little bit more time. But I do think kind of recording the amount of time is helpful, just so that I can go back and reference it. Like, I know that this was a fast drawing, and that is just like data, you know. Doesn't matter, but it might be helpful to you. And I think that this also looks pretty flat, so you still need like shading on those parts, like right here-ish, like right here. So you could do, bring this back here. So if we just look at that egg right there and the carton around it, you can say, okay, well, this needs a little bit more right there. Maybe even. And so if I want to really like make a definition of an area where the egg ends, I'm going to want to define it with this color, let's say. And we'll bring a little bit up here, and you can layer that one with the light one, which might help it seem like it's part of that other part. It's not the egg anymore. This is the carton, if that makes sense. So this is the carton. Could use a little bit more blue there, maybe a little bit on the edge. This could use quite a bit right here. And then we can even go even darker right inside here. Of course, I do recommend that you kind of give your paper a little bit of time to soak in all that ink, because there's a lot of water, and I can already tell my paper is getting she's getting a little beat up. Like this could use a little bit of shading on there too, so maybe some of this right here. Like right here, and there's this little can see that when they start kind of like touching and overlapping, that they start to look like new colors. And so it kind of really broadens your palette a little bit more. Yeah, I would say that like I would want to do more of that here and on the other ones, because it is going to require a little bit more development of both this outside carton and that little egg. The egg doesn't have a lot, but there is a lot of value there. And then there's like this little like light that's kind of like bouncing off here. You can kind of put that in there too if you want to. I don't really like it with the, like, I'm not loving my pen today. It just feels like it's not really responding right. Like it's leaving like scratchy marks. I don't know, but you could do a little bit of light if you wanted to with an acrylic pen or something like that. So this, I would love to do like some more time on that, because I do think that that is challenging, Crystal. I agree with you. So I'm gonna, I don't know, I think this was maybe like, what was that, 15-ish minutes? Ish, give or take. But yeah, I think also like trying to make sure that you're defining the difference between the egg and the carton in your palette is going to be an important part of that, especially if you want it to be like clear or to articulate that idea clearly. And now I also incorporated like 2 new colors, so I'm gonna maybe bring some of those in there, but I do think that they're a good addition. I like them. I'm glad we have them here. Ooh, that wasn't right, but that's okay. We'll leave that in there. It's like a little too dark there. Okay, so I don't know about you guys. Do you all have more room on this page? Maybe we can do one more thing here, something little. I say let's go on to the next image. Crystal, I hope that was helpful. I'm not sure how helpful it is. Let me show you the image. So that's what mine looks like right now. You can see there's lots of like layers. Let's see how the paper looks on the back with all of that layering marker. Yeah, you can kind of see it starting to come through a little bit, but that's what it looks like right now. And I do think that I would treat this like I would treat all the rest of them like that, so that I would start to have a little bit more of a sense of depth right along the edges of the eggs. Okay, so there's that. I would really love to have like shadow. Oh, I do see it. It's on this side. Respectfully, let me just put this in because I feel like everything had a shadow there except this one, and it looks weird right here. And I think the shadow placement is also kind of weird. Like it's up here at the top, which I really wished it was down here. So I'm just going to add a little bit there. And then, I don't know, this one had the shadow up on the top too. That is such a dumb place for a shadow. As if we could change that. Okay. So that's going to be my second page. Yeah, they're the same struggle, right? We're all struggling with the same thing. So it's really like helpful sometimes to just see how other people approach it. I think that can be very valuable. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip on over to the next image. And I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day, but I'm really going to try this week to try to like fill more pages in my sketchbook. I still have quite a bit. I don't know if I'll be able to finish my whole sketchbook, but I'm going to go ahead and hop over to another page. I mean, I do like this sketchbook, but I would love to start a new one. I really haven't done that much work in here, and I've been working in 2 different sketchbooks, but I would like to finish this one if I can. Okay, so the next one is, again, more kitchen-y stuff. I do like that it has a couple of food items, so that might be a fun draw too. Like you can draw the little lemon or the chili pepper. Yeah, let's do this one. We'll do a few 5 minutes from here. You pick and choose the ones you like. I definitely want to draw that knife. I think I want to draw the rolling pin, the pepper. I guess maybe the whisks also. I'm kind of looking for things that, you know, they're going to look more like recognizable things. They're not going to look just like a circle with some little blobs in it, you know, like that little, whatever that whatever that thing is right there. So I think I'm going to do the knife, the rolling pin, the lemons, the chili pepper, maybe another whisk, maybe the fork. I haven't drawn a fork, and forks are, again, they're a little challenging. So, all right, let's go ahead and set our timer again. I'm starting with the knife. You start with whichever one you like. But a knife is also kind of like simple and hard. I don't know if I should change my colors. I'm going to put it over here on this side. I like to start with a straight line just to give me like an anchor for getting the placement right. But this knife is interesting. It has that, like, I don't know, what would we call that? Like a, well, the pointed edge, I guess. It's pointy. What an interesting knife, a pointy one. I just finished watching Game of Thrones again, which I saw it when it was on, but I have a tendency to watch things while I am drawing or multitasking. And so there's so many things that I did not recall. And so it was like a brand new show to me, basically. So again, I'm going to try to leave empty the things that should be brightest. Oh, you know, I don't even know. This might actually be a result of the shadow. I'm realizing now that the shadow's right up against here. So maybe that's why it has this weird shape that I can't really see, but I'm just going to draw what I see. Whenever there's confusion for me like that, I always just err on the side of draw what you see, not what you think it should be, so that way I can, you know, just rely on what my eyes are giving me as information. Not, I don't like when I have to make things up, because when I make things up, it usually does not look good. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to be making things up. So I've got a couple of shades of gray here. We're going to see if we can create a sense of depth with that. It sounds like I'm going to try to keep this separate from the shadow. In the image, the distinction between the shadow and the, okay, I'm going to darken that shadow at the top later. But the distinction between the shadow of the handle and the handle itself is a little blurry. It's a little hard to make that out. So I'm going to try to keep those two straight. Even here, I feel like this is not, like, that doesn't look like a knife shape I've ever seen. It's like a paring knife or something that I don't know what they're called, maybe. And this looks like every now and then there's like a little bit of value, just a little bit of darkness on part of the circle, outside of the circle, a little bit underneath here, a little bit over here. We have about 1 minute left. Okay, I've been wanting to use my pencil and I haven't really been able to, so let me try to use that in this spread, just for texture and detail. Sometimes I feel like with the pencil I have to outline everything, but just remember, you do not have to outline everything. Some things can get a little bit of an outline and you can kind of keep it like light. It doesn't have to go all the way around things. I really wish I had some like white, like a big, like a chunky white marker. Okay, well, tough luck. Time is up. Even better. Okay, let me just put my little label on here again. So far it's looking like I'm going to be using these grays. This one. I use this one. I use this one. And I use this. But I haven't used anything else. We'll see if I can kind of keep it with that same color scheme. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple minutes if you want to like wrap that up. There's one of the images that I was really excited to draw, but I'm not sure we're going to have time for it. And it was the pan of eggs. So I don't know if maybe we should add the pan of eggs. Maybe I'll do it on this side. Okay, new 5-minute drawing. Starting now. I'm going to start with that, what is that thing? Rolling pin. I don't know why I keep forgetting what it's called. No, the scales are going to be the scale's going to be very off because the knife is right next to it. That knife is going to look massive, or this rolling pin is going to look very small. Either way, I think that's fine. Again, here we are with symmetry. Okay, let's see if I can do this again. Already feeling challenged by this. I think that'll work. I love this like grain on here. I'm going to try to include it, but we'll see if it works out with my markers and whatever I'm choosing to use here. I think one of the nice things about these markers is that you could just, you know, like draw or shade it in the direction of those grains, like the wood grain. And instead of like just coloring in any direction, use that direction you're seeing to fill in that area. And I think that's going to be probably just enough. Like it doesn't have to be too much there. That was the like darker section right there. And it looks like those like grains, now that I'm looking at it a little bit more, the grain is actually like light. It's not dark. And we have it, well, I just straight up drew them in with this, but I really should have left them as an empty space. It's okay. If I can get this also. Shadow goes on the right side. And I'm going to put in the firm shadow, that like cast shadow. So those are going to help us to define, define the shape of the rolling pin as well, because it really kind of like butts up against the side and helps us to redraw that shape and to redevelop that form in case you need to. Like in my case, I feel like I could use that little bit of extra type of detail, I guess. I'm gonna use some of this, just a little on this edge, very thin outline. There's a little bit of dark there. I have very thin. I'm going to do kind of like a broken line. There's also like a little bit of light right there, but do I want to put that in? So let's try. Let's see what we want to include. So here, we only have like 1 minute left, so maybe I should switch over to pencil. I'm going to just put in a little bit here. I'm going to leave a little ring of light there on the edge. No, I don't love that, so let's see if I can blend it in a little bit more. I'm going to put some right there next to it. Trying to blend it a little bit, but let's put some pencil in. More important, I think. Oh, well, that's time. So this one I feel like is too far away. I'm trying to put it on the outside of the rolling pin instead of on the actual thing, but I think this could have been really nice to use your pencil or my pencil for some of the grain, the wood grain. I'm just gonna leave it like that. There's my little clothespin. I mean, no, why do I keep wanting to call it a clothespin? It is a rolling pin. Thank you. Okay, let's just get a little bit of it here. It's a little more than 5 minutes, and I'm just looking at it on the screen, and I can see that it still kind of felt a little like detached because it didn't have enough pencil. So I just want to always make everything feel like it's, you know, goes together. Okay, maybe this funny little like whisk will be cute, or should we put the maybe the fork? Yes, no worries, Sky. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and we will see you next time. Bye, Sky. Yeah, it's 2:30, so usually we'll end around this time. I'm not quite finished drawing, so I'm going to keep going a little bit longer, but of course feel free to pop off whenever you need to. I am very grateful for you guys being here. Thank you guys so much. I hope you got some drawing practice in. If you're in the mood for a little more, stick around and I'll be doing a few more drawings. I think at least I'd like to finish this spread, and I think I'm going to do another stream tomorrow, but I'll be doing it just like on Instagram. So maybe you'll be scrolling and you can just pop in and, you know, say hi, or not. You don't have to. But if you want to, I think I'm just going to be doing just some casual live drawing. Just drawing in my sketchbook and inviting you to join me. But when I do it on Instagram, I can't really show you the pictures I'm using. It doesn't really like work like that, like not the same way that it works here on YouTube. On YouTube, I feel like I have a lot more flexibility. I'm gonna try to leave those empty spots for the light. I really don't know what that little whisk is. It's cute though. Elise, I think I'm gonna do it around this time. So what do you think? Since that one will be a little bit more casual, like I can do it anytime. I think I don't have anything. I'd like to do it in the afternoon because a lot of the times our meetings are usually in the evening, and so I know that sometimes if you're abroad or you're in a different time zone, it's hard for you to do evening streams with me. But I'd like to do afternoon if possible. I think 1 is a good time, but I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to put some more in right here. So that one was a little bit of a shadow. And so that one's going to stay very soft and light. And then here, I noticed that it looks pretty much like a line up here, but then down there, it starts to look like separate little dashes. Okay, so now I'm just overlapping. I'm just stacking and layering the marker on top. And just allowing them to, you know, mix together and make new colors. This is kind of like my mid-tone, so I'm just gonna look and see if I can find anywhere else where I can add some of that. Some of these little tines, I think, can have a little bit more. Some of these get them up here at the top. Wow, I've never seen a little whisk like this. It's very cute, but what would you use that for, you think? Like maybe like pancake batter or something like thin and like something that wouldn't be needing to, you know, mix very thick dough or batter or something like that. I don't know. I'm not much of a baker. I don't really like baking at all. I would really like to learn how to bake bread really well, but I mean, I've been on that journey for a while and I still haven't quite gotten there, but I don't use a lot of these kinds of tools. I do like cooking a little bit more. I don't really see a shadow. I think maybe the cast shadow is probably here, even though I really don't see it. I'm gonna kind of invent it. We'll pretend that that's a shadow. I just really don't, oh, here's a shadow, duh. I don't like inventing in my drawings because I feel like when I start making stuff up is when things go awry. Afternoon sounds perfect for you. Excellent. So yeah, Elise, I'm thinking around the same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. So I think you might be, I don't know if you're in my same time zone, Elise, but I know that you're not in the United States, but I don't know if maybe you're possibly in the same time zone. I don't know what that thing is, but timer's gonna go off right now, so just do a little bit of this pencil so it ties together. I really like drawing metal stuff. I think it kind of needs a little bit more. Wow, why is that timer not going off? Really seems like it should have gone off by now, but making me think it's not working. There she is. Yeah, I don't know what that thing is, but we'll just say that is a whisk of some sort. Okay, so I still have a little bit more room. I want to put something that's kind of like suited for this area. I guess I should do the other whisk or the fork or that little nutcracker thingy. What is that? Like a claw cracker? I don't know what they are. I don't really do crustaceans. I don't really know that much about them, but I'm thinking that's one of those things. But maybe I'm gonna do the fork, I guess. Forks are definitely hard to draw. They are simple, but also complex because of the like nuance. Should I do it that way or this side? I'm gonna try my best to rotate it. So I'm just gonna like turn my iPad like this, and hopefully So I'm just going to make it right here. Okay, I'm trying to get the symmetry here, so it's gonna look a little funny. It's gonna go through some ugly stages. See if I can. I don't know if I can get this like. I don't know. Let's see. 1, 2. They're kind of pointed towards the middle. A big bright spot right there in the center. These tines are pretty dark, so when I'm ready, I can start to put in dark values. Oh, I like it. I think it's working. The shadow kind of shifts over here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It looks a little bit crooked to me, but I think that's okay. Okay, so there. Now I'm going to just darken some of these little tines here. There's not a lot of like highlights, or there's a little bit of value change, but not too much. A little bit right there. And this is like a little height right there. Little connection there. Oh, I think there's a shadow there again. I have made another mistake in terms of finding that shadow. See, one of the cool things about this fork here too is that there's like a shadow, but it's gonna really be telling about the shape of the fork. You can see like that shadow goes that way instead of following it, which I think is really helpful for us to understand that the fork like angles back up. So this is like a perfect example of kind of like drawing what your eyes see and not what you necessarily think it should be, because I think the instinct would be that it should follow that same form. Okay, so we have about a minute left. I'm going to go ahead and go in. I'm going to leave this one pretty simple. Come in with my pencil to make that tie together. But I do think that that shadow really, and I think because the photo's a little blurry, like it really kind of, like I drew some things that maybe I shouldn't have drawn there because I was drawing, essentially I was drawing the shadow, but I was thinking it was part of the fork. I like how here, like the side of it just kind of blends into the background. So you don't have to draw that, and if you leave that out, I think it's going to be like a nice touch on your drawing. Right here too. Kind of picks up again here, but it's not like perfectly outlined all the way around, and I love that. Okay, so that one I feel done. I'm not going to do more on that one, but I'll leave this here in case you're looking at it. And we'll just wrap that one up. Okay, Elise, you're in Montreal. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. for you. Okay, so you're in the East. I think you're in the Eastern time zone, right? And Lauren said that you try to make bread for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, me too. I mean, I remember I was in a big bread baking phase, and I remember making all these bagels once, and they were hard as rocks. But you know, I have seen some really easy recipes for like a Dutch oven loaf of bread, which is what I think I can do that. I've done it before, but you know, it's like a new project every single time I try it. It's always like something brand new. It's like I've never done it before. But I do like making focaccia because it's so easy, and like really, I think that's harder to get wrong. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So that was the fork. This one's so simple, but I really kind of like it because it's just so simple. Sometimes when I have a lot of empty space, I'll play with like the negative space, and I can add some things in here, or I could draw like other stuff, just to kind of like incorporate that space. Okay. So I think I'm going to stop right here today. This is the, we did 3 spreads today. So 5 minutes, what started as just like warm-ups, 5-minute warm-ups turned into just a 5-minute drawing exercise. So we did quite a bit, which I'm very excited about. Happy that we did this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drawing sessions there. 5, 6, 7, 8. This one was pretty long. 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 drawing sessions, about 5 minutes each, with the exception of the eggs. And I got like 3-page spread here. So the image that we didn't get to, sorry, let me let my dog in because she's going to be harassing me. Come on, Lou. Want to come in, Henry? So Lucy is my Border Collie mix. She's very emotional. And Henry is a little more like, he's a little cheapoo Chihuahua mix. Okay, so I was saying something. I don't remember what I was saying, but I feel like we got like a lot of drawing time in. We did a lot of work in my sketchbook. I have 3 spreads, so I think this was just like a really good drawing exercise for me. So I thank you guys for being here and for drawing with me. Let's come back over here to the chat. Yeah, so these are, again, you know, this is a pretty big sketchbook. So, I mean, it's not huge, but these drawings were pretty big. I tend to struggle a lot with drawings that are big and have symmetry. Like, ugh. Like, I can't get them to be just straight. I probably will do a little bit of work on this guy right here because I didn't really get a lot in there, and I really would like to. Because I just thought that was a really interesting thing to draw. There was a lot of light and dark, and I think it might be an even funner project with like the actual colors that I see in the image. I think that would be more exciting to do. And then my ugly croissant and a little less ugly croissant. So yes, this was super fun for me. Thank you, Elise. I'm so glad that that was fun for you too, because this was definitely like a much needed drawing exercise for me. I really had to, you know, move into like something out of my practice, because again, I was just doing the same thing and I felt like my drawings were feeling very stiff, and I don't like that. So I'm going to do a little bit more drawing tomorrow, and the rest of this week I'll be doing a live stream probably on Instagram. And it'll be around this time. I'm thinking 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I know I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm also doing a workshop for the Summer Creative Retreat. So if any of you guys are going to be going to that, you'll find me there teaching a workshop on drawing like recipes and food. What was it? A food journaling. So if you are planning on attending that, I'm going to post the link on our Patreon so that way you can join if you want to. And I will, until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Before that happens, I don't know what I'm saying. It's getting late. So I am happy to have you guys here. Thank you guys so much for joining. The replay is going to be available immediately. So feel free to draw along again if you like. And then, you know, really get some practice it in your book. Thank you, Ellen and Sarah and Crystal and Elise and Lauren and Sky for joining me. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.